So I guess when people say, okay, hey, I'm considering a Roth conversion, or when do you even bring it up to a client? Because you mentioned 59.5 to do before or after, but in your opinion, when should people start to consider a Roth conversion?
So for our clients, good question, Matt, we look at like an optimal window, which can vary from person because it's going to depend on what tax bracket you're in. If you're in a higher earnings year, if you're in a lower earnings year, maybe you're in between jobs. Like, we're looking for a window where we can strategically convert in a way that's going to be efficient. I like to use that word efficient because there's a lot of factors that we look at when doing Roth conversions, right? And there could be a year, maybe this year, it makes sense for somebody to convert because their taxable income's lower, or maybe they're close to filling up their tax bracket, but they still have 50K in room or something like that. But next year it doesn't make sense because they've already filled up that tax bracket, and to continue to convert, they're going to be paying a high percentage. So my point here is that every single year, I think this needs to be looked at. Just because someone might consider or even process a Roth conversion this year doesn't mean it necessarily makes sense for them next year. And I also think people need to think about, well, why am I even converting in the first place? Am I just doing this because I think taxes are going to go up? Am I doing this to maximize legacy? Am I doing it because I'm going to potentially be able to access this money in retirement and I don't want to worry about taxes? I think that's a big factor. And that's always the number one thing I like to consider is, like, first of all, should I convert? And, looking at age, that's obviously a big one, right? Because when you convert money, you're paying taxes up front, as we talked about, right? Mm-hmm. So if you think about it from a portfolio standpoint, let's say you did a $50,000 conversion, you paid $15,000 in taxes, so you don't really have $50,000 if you look at it as a comprehensive view anymore, because that $15,000 went to taxes, right? So we know that's going to happen at some point in time, but in regards to a conversion, doing a larger chunk at once, we need to think about, okay, well, what's the break-even age? How is this going to benefit my situation? As I was saying, is it going to benefit my retirement? Is it going to benefit me only if taxes go up? Is it going to benefit my heirs? So that's always the number one factor. It's like, why are we doing this, and how is it potentially going to make your situation better in terms of both retirement and or legacy planning?
No, for sure. And then, but then to be clear, just so for all of our listeners, is it any age? I mean, is it just retirees that should consider? Can anyone consider a Roth conversion?
I think you can argue any age, but those optimal windows tend to be after you stop working and before RMDs. I think that's like a great window to look at, because once you get to RMD age, you can't actually convert RMDs themselves. You can convert beyond them. However, think about it, right? If you have to take your RMD, that can reduce your flexibility, and that's going to increase your taxable income in itself. And then if you're making a lot of money, you're going to be paying a high percentage, most likely, on those conversions. So to keep it really simple, that optimal window tends to be after retirement, before you have to take required minimum distributions, which right now that age is 73.